Okay. Oh, what happened? I said sit tight. That's okay. We're going to keep it rolling here. I want to, again, just say thank you to the panel and to our moderator, Dr. Donovan. That was fantastic. I am now extraordinarily excited to introduce you all to a fantastic steward and champion of American naval history and heritage, a great community partner, and a brilliant speaker. Commander Leonard Len Santiago, U.S. Navy retired, is the Chief Engineer and Director of Engineering and Restoration at the USS Midway Museum in San Diego. The USS Midway Museum on San Diego's Navy Pier gives visitors the rare opportunity to step aboard America's longest-serving 20th century aircraft carrier and experience life inside this massive floating city at sea. Prior to this work, Commander Santiago served as a program manager at American Systems. He also has a background at the U.S. Navy as a naval officer from 1988 to 2011, holding positions such as Commander, 3rd Fleet Assistant Chief of Staff, Carrier Strike Group 7 Assistant Chief of Staff. He holds a bachelor's degree in biophysics from the University of California, Berkeley, and a master's in mechanical engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School. He currently serves as the president of the board of directors of the U.S. Historical Navy Ships Association. Please welcome Commander Len Santiago.
Good afternoon. It's always bad to be the last speaker before the happy hour time frame. So I'm going to fly through this, and so hopefully I feel privileged and honored to be joining you. God bless Diane and Joel inviting the USS Midway, and you're probably wondering why a museum ship is here. And I'm hoping to tell you the story how we're transforming the ship to reinvest it back into the San Diego community. My job here is to be the chief engineer here, but I'm going to tell you a story how this little ship in a little town called San Diego, California is giving back to the community in the areas of some key areas here. Let's see this. Our primary mission is to preserve the history of the Midway Museum and those who have served, but also to inspire and educate our next generation of youngsters, of those in the audience here. I appreciate the youngsters here because you sitting in this room and those in the hallway have the new passion of preserving your sanctuaries and the coastlines. But we also have the fourth mission area of entertain. This is how we hook in those youngsters to have a little fun, but bring in a little investment back in. So you can see from the sailors of the past, where there was no Cal OSHA, Fed OSHA, whatever OSHA, to the youngsters today, those who take the oath, and also we educate. We have classrooms on board. We have 10 classrooms I want to tell you about. So let me tell you a little bit like a Top Gun. Yes, Tom Cruise, a little bit of action here, flying jets. We get about 1 million visitors, as the doctor from Viking Cruise Lines highlighted. We take in about 50,000 children a year. They come from all over the place, Arizona, California, Northeast, people that have not seen the ocean before. We do overnights, yep, and we hit the #1 spot on Yelp with all kinds of museum visitors. Now we take in those guests and we put it back into the community. We've given back to our forces in San Diego. We give back to the local schools in San Diego. In fact, schools that don't have buses come to Midway to teach. We have a scholarship program called No Child Left Ashore, about $2 million so far to date. And then we've also invested back into the San Diego State Schools. So we have the schools of University of California, San Diego, University of San Diego, and San Diego State, and we're actually sponsoring a professor there. We do a lot of military ceremonies. San Diego is a major military hub, major fishing industry, major shipbuilding industry down there. And I've heard the discussions earlier today about putting back in the workforce. And tomorrow I'll be hosting a panel talking about that workforce development. So far, the analysis from our local university is we have helped to contribute annually about $72 million as part of the tourism piece of Waterfront. And our 750 volunteers, we call it the best adult daycare on the West Coast in San Diego. So we bring back all these doctors and lawyers and folks, and as well as we're training for a lot of engineering sites. A lot of stuff you see here. We bring in the drones. We bring in the dogs. Let's see if this will start. We believe in bringing in the local technology, San Diego, Oxnard, UC Santa Barbara, some of the folks up the coast. Test out that new technology. I utilized the drones to do analysis of ship, and some of those young scientists branched out and provided drone technology to the local science industry up in La Jolla. You see the dog? You may have recognized him before. He's on one of those Netflix episodes of Black Mirror. But the dog actually came in handy for fires or for research. We provide resources to our local police, a local fire department, local military. Of course, the Navy SEAL training is on the West Coast, and I remember I read or I saw an article last year in the CHOW. You had Blue Force, a lot of veterans coming out of the service to help preserve the sanctuary. I'm pushing like a mute. Okay. But this is one of the key spots I'm proud to share with you. Dr. Allison Urban, our education director, I maintain 10 classrooms where those 50,000 children come in. And we are a firm believer that the generation tomorrow, you got to start early. Introduce them to the technology. I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer. I use sticky rice, duct tape, holy water to keep the Midway going here. But we're teaching the young engineers here today to talk about electromagnetism, drones, robots. The Pythagorean theorem, you land a jet on aircraft carrier, a squared plus b squared is c squared. Don't crash. But some of the technology we also bring to the professors. We have a thing called the Midway Institute of Technology, and we bring these teachers from Texas, Arizona. We pay their flights, sometimes scholarships, to teach them about history and about what the naval heritage is all about. We've paired up with a local school down in San Diego to teach them that hands-on business. I heard earlier today about this challenge we're having at the workforce. So we brought in a local school called TRL, teaching them to get hands-on, tighty-righty, loosey-lefty, because you got to maintain those ships. You got to maintain the fisheries. You got to build those ships. So hopefully we can capture those folks. We have 750 volunteers. Average age, about 72 and a half years. We've paired up with the local community colleges to teach the youngsters of welding. And we've paired up the older volunteers with our younger volunteers to teach them what's hands-on. How do we make mistakes at a younger age? Because it's always harder when you get older, like at my age, that making mistakes becomes a little more painful. So it's best to experience it when you're younger. My lovely wife here in the audience is a PE teacher. She takes care of the kids from K through 5. Tries to teach them, put the iPhone down and get into the hula hoop and play back the games of Duck, Duck, Goose. We have a challenge of some kids going to college and going to debt. The data you see on your left, we pulled from the Department of Labor, and right now we see a downward pace of lacking hand skills in welding, electricians, and painters. We believe on the Midway we should be teaching some of these kids on the welding side. Get them into the basics without going to college, and get into the high energy stuff. You can be a corrosion engineer and help preserve buildings, ships. And if you're always remodeling your house, you're always looking for a good electrician. We need a lot of good electricians to maintain these fishing vessels and all the ships being built. We also bring in a lot of the local military on the coast. They do their ceremonies on board our ship. And we try to teach them how leadership is important to the fleet today, especially with the youngsters joining in. They help us preserve our ship, which we actually do a lot of these ceremonies you see here. This is AUNZA ceremony, Australia, New Zealand, US. And did you know, on the West Coast, I haven't done it recently, the 40 top Girl Scouts who sell the most cookies get a flight on a helicopter, land on our flight deck, while we have this massive party on the flight deck celebrating the Girl Scouts of America on the West Coast. The other mission area is entertain. We bring in cars. Tom Cruise has done his second movie. Yes, and he did announce he's doing his third movie. But we also have major venues such as Pitbull, one of the best concerts we had on the Midway. But this also brings a lot of organizations that come on board the ship, bio-research firms, to realize what a great venue on the Bay Area and what an investment to San Diego can be. I was in London the other day. I was in London last year, and I gave presentations to the Royal Institute of Naval Architects, and I tell them, we have the best rebel party called the 4th of July on board the Midway. What you see here is about 3,000 people packed on the Midway to celebrate, which we soon have our 250th anniversary here. So what brings Midway? Let me show you a little bit. Let me give you through a walk of the ship that our volunteers remodeled. In 1991, there was an idea of reactivating downtown San Diego. I know a lot of the cities, downtowns are not very good in the past years with the wharfs and things like that, but Midway was brought in to rejuvenate the local community. Our volunteers rejuvenated this old ship into a tourist attraction downtown San Diego. From the landing field to old staterooms that haven't seen the light of day since 1991, to command centers that our folks have never seen before. We used radios before the internet came around. A lot of pre-AOL computer screens. And I say our volunteers are our main engines of the ship. As the chief engineer, the engines on the Midway have shut down. But our volunteer force, as well as many of the organizations around the country, provide that life support to many of your spaces and your systems. We tell the story from the Battle of Midway way back when, where we were very lucky, 6 minutes, in a 6-minute battle you may have seen in some of the movies. We hold multiple ceremonies on the ship, but the most important thing we like to tell the story about is the family who supported that service member. We're a floating city underneath our flight deck. And these passageways you see here are our classrooms where all those 50,000 kids walk through to learn the basics of engineering. We have a space where they used to make raw metal and turn into key pieces of repair to ships at sea. Cooking meals every day. My dad was a cook in the Navy and was the best cook in our house. The mess decks area where people wrote checks or actually clear the deck, as we have a medical department on board. So a lot of the kids that walk the decks of the Midway see a lot of different things they can do as they venture through academia. The goat locker, where our senior enlisted advisors train the new kids of today. We had a dentist. We had a floss boss on board. Funny story, we had the California Dental Association on board for a conference, and my dentist happened to be on board, and while she's grinding at my teeth, she didn't like this exhibit where the feet were back and forth, so I told her I'd unplug that. We had a dock, if you watch the pit, and we actually rejuvenated our engine room. Steam is important, and as you know, a lot of ships today, a lot of hospitals rely on steam. So we go back to teach these lessons to our students on board. So the Midway is a museum, but a Midway also now is an engine that we're helping to revitalize downtown San Diego. As a nonprofit, I heard some discussions earlier today between private and government or private industries, nonprofit. We have contributed. We're going to be dedicating lots of money to this new park that I'll show you in a bit. We're transforming this old pier that was in World War II and giving it back to the community. We had to retrofit this pier that used to support the beams, bombs, and bullets of the west coast of the United States and turn the entire San Diego waterfront into a new reactivated community area.
It's always important to honor veterans who keep us safe, who serve this country selflessly, put themselves at risk for freedom, for democracy. Freedom Park will be the largest veterans park on the West Coast. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to visit it.
3, 2, 1. Freedom Park is destined to become a tremendous community asset. It not only is going to celebrate freedom at home and abroad and those who make it possible, but service to community as well as country. It truly is going to be a new dimension to San Diego, a new attraction to the waterfront.
It's just an absolute honor to be a part of Freedom Park at Navy Pier. It's going to be such a gift to the city of San Diego, and of course such a gift to our veterans and our future generations and our Midway guests and people all over the world.
It's called Navy Pier for a reason. We're going to tell that story of all those families who came down here to wave goodbye to their loved ones, never knowing if they would come back, going into the war in the Pacific.
I love the fact that we have a family monument in Freedom Park, a tribute to military families. I always tell people the best part of my military service was coming back home again and being reunited with my family and everybody seeing their own family.
It's going to be iconic for San Diego, but it's also a sign of respect we have for all the military folks that have done so much for this country.
Freedom Park honors veterans, but it's also about our future. It's about the future of our children, our grandchildren. They will really be able to understand what freedom means.
It's going to be a world-class park, and to have everybody invested in it and be part of it is just really going to be important to the entire city.
Everyone is going to experience Freedom Park in a different way, whether it's interactive kiosks, understanding military families, seeing a statue to a Medal of Honor winner from Pearl Harbor, or just looking at the bay.
The views from Freedom Park will be amazing. This will be one of the most welcoming spaces in all of America.
We're super excited. We're privileged to be here at the waterfront here in San Diego, and we owe the community to put our best foot forward in everything that we do.
The USS Midway Museum has a really strong brand. Top 1% of things to do in the world on TripAdvisor. Year after year, people walk onto this ship and they are just blown away with the experience, and we know that the park is going to be the same.
Freedom Park is going to be the final piece of the Midway success story. Every day as the sun sets in the west, this shadow of the USS Midway will be cast over Freedom Park. As people are sitting in the park, they're able to sit in the shadow of freedom.
Alongside this legendary ship, let's build a legacy for all San Diegans.
We want you to join us in this journey. We want you to help us honor our veterans, celebrate our freedoms, educate the next generation. Come leave a legacy at Freedom Park for all of us.
With your help, Freedom Park and Navy Pier begins now.
So I listened to the themes of all through today, and I hope we can wrap it up here before the big dinner tonight. Our mission is, and as well as everybody here, is to preserve, inspire, and educate a lot of our sanctuaries, a lot of the coastlines. I love listening to Nakia to talk about the CHOW off the coast of California. You have to tell that story. You have to preserve that story as well as the waters they have there. Love Howard's discussion in regards to down to the Maritime Museum here on the East Coast. Viking Cruise Lines. I'm an investor in Viking Cruise Lines, and I appreciate learning the history. As we all know, our history is tiny compared to that of the world. Dr. Jacobs talked about getting ahead. I say getting ahead through knowledge and experience. You can see here, we give tribute to our past heroes. We welcome home a lot of the ships that come back in San Diego, as well as graduate and commission a lot of folks. We do a lot of international events with Australia, UK, like I mentioned. And as well as working a bill right now, there's about 40 other museum ships across the coast in Texas, in Charleston, right up from Savannah, up in Newport, up in Maine, trying to do the same thing that the Midway's trying to do. Like I said, I have the honor of being the president of the Historical Naval Ships. And so right now, I know we're here in the Capitol Hill, it's Ocean Week. So right now, we have a bill going through, 5970. If there's any congressional staffers here, approval of 5970 would be heavenly, which will actually give grants to a lot of the museum ships that are doing the same thing we're doing, preserving, inspire, and educating the local community and helping the local communities out. So, happy anniversary to the Marine Sanctuary. Happy your 25th. Happy birthday to America for 250 years. Again, we have a lot to learn, and I appreciate learning a lot here today amongst this great group of professionals from NOAA and the gang. We have a great view. If you look tear down that building, if NOAA wants to establish their NOAA West building, beautiful laboratory sitting right behind the Midway. I invite you to come down. So, thank you very much for the time to share with you what the USS Midway is doing for the San Diego community, and God bless you all.